Okay, let's get into it. Today we're doing a deep dive into a brand that's been making some waves online, Laurent Cadieux Watches, accessories,
Right.
and our mission really is to look at their super polished marketing versus what we're actually finding from, independent reviews, site data, that sort of thing. See if it lines up.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating example of modern luxury marketing. If you hit their website, laurentcadieux.com, it's impressive.
It really is.
Very slick design, great photos, all this language about um, craftsmanship,
Hmm.
like watches crafted for those who measure success in moments and not hours. It promises that high-end feel, but affordable. They absolutely nail the image.
They know the image,
Yeah.
totally. But when we started digging just a little bit, looking at the technical side, the
Mm.
operational stuff, well, a very different picture started to
It
emerge.
did. And that's where things get, well, interesting and maybe a bit concerning for potential buyers.
Exactly. This is where that initial shine kind of wears off and you start seeing some, let's say, red flags based on trust indicators.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by the low trust scores the site got straight away.
Hmm.
And it's not just about like what customers say.
Mm.
We're looking at the actual structure, the transparency or lack thereof of the business itself.
Right.
Tools like Scam Advisor, Scam Dogs, they check for things like operational opacity.
Mm.
Who actually owns the site?
Mm.
How long has it really been active? Where's it registered? Basic stuff, but telling.
Super telling. And when you connect those dots, well, the domain was only registered about a year ago.
Only a year. Wow.
Yeah. That's a really short lifespan in e-commerce terms, especially for a brand claiming heritage or, craftsmanship.
That's a key signal, especially when it's combined with, say, hidden ownership details, which is often the case here.
Exactly. Hidden ownership, very recent domain, almost zero traceable brand history outside their own marketing. It all points towards that kind of short-term, high marketing model.
It fits that pattern, doesn't it? The
Yep.
kind of store designed to, well, pop up, sell aggressively with great marketing, and then potentially vanish before any long-term issues like warranty claims or widespread complaints really catch up.
Uh-huh. It's strategic lack of transparency, really, and maybe the biggest initial warning sign.
And that lack of transparency seems to directly connect to what customers are actually experiencing, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. We looked at Trust Here, which tracks customer feedback, and the brand's sitting at a pretty low 2.9 out of 5 stars.
Oof, that's not great.
Not great at all. And the vast majority of those reviews, 1 star, people are not happy.
So what are they saying? What are the main complaints?
It's almost entirely about quality, or rather, the massive gap between the advertised quality and the actual product they received.
Ah, okay, so the craftsmanship isn't quite there.
Not even close, according to these reviews. People describe the watches feeling, cheap, like mass-produced, low-cost items just dressed up with fancy branding.
Specific things,
Right.
like what exactly was wrong?
Well, common complaints were watches looking completely different from the pictures online, fake metal plating that wore off quickly, even non-functioning chronograph dials.
So the little dials were just for show.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Just decoration. People used words like extremely cheap over and over again.
That really undermines the whole luxury angle.
Completely. And there was one review, one specific story that really kind of crystallized the whole thing. It seemed to reveal the likely sourcing model.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
So this one reviewer said they didn't even get a watch with Laurent Cadieux on it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they specifically mentioned receiving a, quote, Neosi watch, apparently a known low-cost generic brand often sourced from China, instead of the Laurent Cadieux model they ordered.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty damning.
Isn't it?
Right.
If you link that back to the hidden ownership, the new domain, it strongly suggests a drop shipping model.
Right. Taking cheap generic products, building this really high-end looking brand around them with slick photos and marketing copy.
And then marking up the price significantly under this sort of fabricated luxury name.
That makes a lot of sense, unfortunately. It explains the quality complaints and the operational secrecy.
So the big question then is, what does this mean for you if you're maybe tempted by those nice photos online?
Well, first, let's be clear. This probably isn't an outright scam where you pay and get absolutely nothing. You'll likely receive something.
Right, a product will probably arrive.
But, and this is the crucial part, it's almost certainly not going to live up to the marketing hype, the quality, the materials, the supposed uniqueness. It just won't be there based on this evidence. It's a failure of value.
So bottom line advice.
Keep your expectations really realistic. Ground them in the data we talked about, not just the pretty pictures. You're likely buying a standard mass-produced watch that's been heavily marketed.
And maybe use protection?
Definitely. Always use a payment method with strong buyer protection, like a credit card. That gives you recourse if the product is, significantly not as described,
Ugh.
especially with these kinds of companies that might not stick around.
Good advice.
So yeah, the final takeaway seems pretty clear here. Laurent Cadieux looks like a classic case study in using high-gloss branding and maybe significant ad spend to essentially mask a reality of low-cost generic sourcing and pretty opaque business practices.
It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? It makes you think about this whole affordable luxury space. How much of it relies purely on a slick story and nice photos rather than actual verifiable brand history or genuinely better materials?
Especially when you can't even figure out who's really behind the brand.
Exactly. Something to maybe keep in mind next time you see a brand pop up online looking incredibly polished and maybe just a little too good to be true.